Good evening, everyone. This is Reading for Charity again. Just making sure my screen's up and running. I think it is, yes. Audio, good. Right. Trying to get around all the possible issues we've had before. So, this is Reading for Charity. Slightly later than normal. I do apologise. This is normally around about when I'm actually finishing. Unavoidable today. This time round we're reading for the Archie Foundation. If you've not seen any of these videos before, because I've said this at the start of every single video, and if you've not followed me at all on Facebook, the Archie Foundation, it's a fantastic charity. It works for kids in the northeast of Scotland. The one I'm particularly interested in, which is the Archie Tayside Foundation, they're trying to get a children's theatre at Ninewells Hospital. You know, if you've ever been in hospital as an adult, you know how scary it is, how how mortifying it can be going in as an adult. You just don't know what's going on. It's a sterile, cold metal. It's scary. Imagine going in there as a kid. It must be absolutely terrifying. So anything that can make the lives of these children better have to be in hospital through no fault of their own, and occasionally through fault of their own, is a good thing in my eyes. So Archie Foundation, I'll put the links for the Just Giving and my Facebook page for Reading for Charity in the description. Again, if you've got any money lying around, even a couple of quid in your pocket, a couple of quid in your PayPal account, throw it their way. It's all going to a good place, and it's all doing good things. So on to the review itself. Sarah Pascoe, Animal. The autobiography of a female body. Now, it's interesting the amount of people who have said nice things about this book, and it's people that I generally tend to enjoy. So people like Frankie Boyle. I like Frankie Boyle a lot. I think he's a very clever guy, and I think he's a very intelligent guy. So he wrote a nice bit of blurb on the front of the book, even if it is one word. Brilliant. So I thought, right, okay, well, Frankie Boyle and I tend to agree on quite a lot of things. Let's give this a go. I got 4 pages into this book before I threw it across the room. I think that was pretty much where I got to. Yeah, I got 4 pages into this book. I actually see the crease in the page where I threw it. This is a terrible book. I'm going to get there right now. This is going to be a short review because this is a terrible book. Do not read this book. That if I could say anything else from all this, do not read this book. To give a little bit of explanation on this, Sarah is obviously not a scientist. She admits that she's not a scientist, but she has read deeply. Now, you go look at the appendix. Appendix? The appendix in the back of the book. And the books that she has linked in the back of the book, the first thing I looked at, I went, well, I wouldn't pass anyone's bibliography. It's not properly sourced at all, referenced at all. And a lot of the books are quite what you wouldn't exactly call, cutting edge science, or even scientific at all. There's lots of things about human sexual behaviour and, fat is a feminist issue. The equality illusion. 0 degrees of empathy. There's lots and lots of books with self-helpy title, self-help kind of titles. There's a couple of ones that I think are probably quite interesting, but again aren't really written by scientists. There's maybe 3 or 4 on the list which genuinely are, and there's absolutely no scientific papers listed at all. Now, with that in mind, Sarah Pascoe then goes and tries to explain all of human sexuality through science. And I use that in a particularly humorous way because she uses it in a particularly humorous way, and that is to say wrong. Evolution, neurobiology, biology in general, sociology, anthropology are all mashed together in a horrible grouping of sciences that will make anyone who has any scientific backing squirm. She contradicts herself frequently on the same page, usually within 4 pages of making a point. The evidence is carefully selected to prove the argument that she wants to make. It's the worst of the internet in the last 10 years. If you want to get a flavour of this book, go onto any forum you like and make a lefty point. And the argument that you'll get into is essentially this book. It's there was a line I said yesterday. I think I said it on Facebook. I might not have. Sarah Pascoe is not in want of a book deal. She's in want of a therapist. I think this book is quite a lot of outpouring of herself and very little about trying to make it interesting for other people. So I've just found the bit of the book I was going to read out, and it makes me laugh because it's so stupid every single time. It's just rubbish. She talks quite a lot. She talks quite a lot in the book. In the moments where she's personal in the book, so she leaves the science out of the way. She talks quite a lot about herself and her issues. So things like the fact that she has been raped twice, though she only calls one of them rape. Or she had an abortion when she was 16-year-old, which is when her mother had her. And how these have affected her in her life. And those bits are honest and thought through quite well, and generally quite well written. Especially the bit when she talks about going and having the abortion. I think it's fantastically well written. But that's maybe 10 pages out of the entire book, and the book is 260 something pages long, isn't it? 322 pages long. So 10 pages out of the 322 is quite good. The remaining 312 are bad. I mean, and they are bad. There's nothing else to say. There's a strong whiff of man-hating throughout the book, and to justify my point, rather than something jumping him down shouting misogynist at me, there are no men in this book who she reflects well upon. The closest she comes is to her current boyfriend when she's written this book, John, and even then she does the whole he's a bit confused by me, and he doesn't really get me, and there's an awful lot of, there's no compliments, but she kind of, I think, goes out of her way not to insult him too much. The rest of the time, she is just, every single other man mentioned in the book is either a terrible human being, she makes a terrible human being, or she sits and slags off. Now, so we'll take the father of evolution, Charles Darwin. Apparently, we should ignore the work of evolution, or rather filter it through our own perception, I think is the phrase that she uses, because he was a Victorian male, and as we know, all Victorian males were misogynists and hated women, and therefore we should view his work with suspicion for that reason. Now, that's not how science works. To a certain extent, yes, when the matter is subjective. But that's not how science works. Science is a body of fact, a body of theory, which we try to disprove constantly. And the things that we don't disprove are generally accepted as facts, and the things that we do disprove are replaced with other things which we then try to disprove. That's essentially the basis of science. Sarah Pascoe doesn't get that. She thinks that being a man in the Victorian age makes all the science that comes after you based on your theories suspect. No. No. And she's basing that on the fact that he was a man. The chapter where she talks about consent, I thought was going to be fantastic. I think the discussion around consent is frequently fascinating because of the way that different countries implement consent. And she raises the fact about Sweden in there, about how they have much different consent to, say, the UK. And then she doesn't go anywhere with it. There's no discussion about consent and what consent, how we can make consent a better understood entity, or any suggestions about or any discussion about why we have so many problems with consent in the UK. No, instead she spends the chapter bashing Julian Assange, Ched Evans, and George Galloway. Okay, so you've chosen 3 very controversial, very high-profile cases where consent was an issue, and just basically done nothing with them, just bashed them in and moved on. Okay, fair enough. I could believe it in that one. It's an emotive subject, but no, this continues all the way throughout the book. The whiff of man-hating is strong through the book. And again, you can understand that when you consider the fact that her father left her and her mother when she was a child, and her mother swore about her father a lot, and she was raped by someone she thought was a friend, and she got pregnant at 16, and basically didn't go anywhere with the man involved, boy involved she calls him basically. You understand where maybe that strong whiff of man-hating comes from, but it makes the book irritating to read at the very least, and at times hugely frustrating when she's talking about basically disregarding science because a man came up with the theory. It's a terrible book. It's a terrible book. I'm going to read the one section out now because it makes me laugh. It really does make me laugh. So this is right. Okay, so this is her talking about boobs, basically. So we'll start off with this. This is quite a long bit. It says, I read something a man wrote about women's bodies. He was a bit obsessed with the idea that evolution had disabled us with the impracticality of our breasts. Can't run naked without pain, he kept repeating. Their breasts make running nude very uncomfortable. Let us wear some sports bras then. Let us wear sports bras even in your imagination, writer man. Despite my uneasiness of the book's constant conjuring of undressed joggers, I do acknowledge his point. In pre-civilized times before nylon and lycra, women evolved unnecessary appendages on their chests that would make hunting and escape far more difficult for us than for boobless men. Okay, so apparently men don't have boobs. That's wrong for starters. Yes, you heard me, unnecessary appendages. The year-round chest fat that adult women have is not needed for milk production, and bigger boobs do not mean, as I would have presumed, that you can make her hold more milk. Also debatable. All female mammals, okay, have nipples. All female mammals feed the young via lactation, and none of them have the surrounding fat deposits the size of ours. That's why they can sprint about happily without clothes on. So why is this, please, nature? Okay, that's ignoring every single animal on the planet every single mammal on the planet that has other fat deposits that are to do with lactation or the feeding of the young. Say, for example, cows, who have huge udders, much greater in size than the human breast, and who do also have trouble escaping from predators. That's true, but the fact that she hadn't thought any further than the statement of humans at the top of the tree, therefore, bleh, makes everything else suspect. And it's all the way through the book. Now she does kind of admit herself in places that she's a ranty lefty, and she goes to argue with people, and that's the way she is. It's argue with people. She's not having a discussion with people. She wants to shout at them until they stand down, and those are her own words. She's already made her mind up about everything, and she's correct. And again, she says all this in the book. So, you kind of like, well, why should we read this book then if it's not a discussion about things? It's you basically going, blah, all these things are what I believe and they're correct. And you should read this going, but you're wrong. You're wrong about the science. You're wrong about this. You're wrong about that. It's hard to make anything out of this book at all. It's a bad book. It's a bad book. Please don't read this book. I've read it for you. You know now it's a bad book. It caused me pain. I threw this book across the room on multiple occasions when I read something that was particularly scientifically incorrect or wearisome. Yeah, don't buy this book. Next time round I'll be reviewing The Curious Instant of the Dog in the Nighttime. Not going to let you in on what I thought about this book. I finished it already. That'll be on Wednesday. Work out what day this is. It's Sunday. That'll be on Wednesday. So thanks again very much for watching. Again, I've said this every single time round. I'm hoping at some point we will have somebody in this chat room who will come in and talk to me about the books. I really want that to happen. Up until now it's not, and until that happens these are only going to be kind of 15 minutes long. Because to make this longer I need more people. I can only talk for so long. I'm only that. I can only be interesting for 15 minutes. Everyone's going, you're not even interesting for 15 minutes. Shut up, Gregor. But yeah, again, thank you very much for watching. We're raising money for the Archie Foundation. It's a fantastic charity. They do lots and lots for sick kids. They're amazing people. They've raised lots of money. I'm hoping to keep raising more money for them. It's been really, really good. Thank you very much for watching. Again, if you can donate to Archie, please go ahead, do so. I'll put the links in the description of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I will hopefully see some people in chat on Wednesday. If not, thank you very much for watching this VOD, and have a good evening.